Hello friends, today we will discuss one topic regarding the Dravidian architecture in South India. So the name of the topic is, why does the Garbha Griha in the Dravidian style of architecture are dark? So everyone know about the architecture in India. So broadly in India we have three types of architecture. We have Nagar architecture in North India, then Besar or Vesar architecture in Central India, and Dravidian architecture in South India. All these three architectures have their different characteristics. So in Nagar architecture have their own characteristic, Dravidian architectures have own characteristic, and we find the combination of Nagar and Dravidian architecture in Vesar style of architecture or temple. You might have observed that the temple or the Garbha Griha in the Garbha Griha in the Nagar architectures and Dravidian architectures have some difference. So what is the Garbha Griha? So Garbha Griha are the place in the temple where gods are placed, and so it is observed that most of the time the Garbha Griha in the Nagar architecture are light. That means this Garbha Griha in the Nagar style architecture are built in such a way so that sunlights are allowed to enter into the Garbha Griha, and so they are lighted. Similarly, the sunlight are not allowed to enter into the Garbha Griha in the Dravidian architecture. So the Garbha Griha in the Dravidian architectures are dark. So have you thought about it? So what may be the possible explanation for this difference in the Nagar architecture and Dravidian architecture regarding the Garbha Griha? So there may be the different possible explanation for that, but I have one explanation which I want to share to you. So this explanation can be given in such a way. So regarding the Harappan civilization ruled from 2200 BC to 1700 BC, and finally from 1700 BC onward it started to decline. So for the decline there are many theories. For example, that changing the course of Indus River, that is one reason given for the decline of Harappan civilization. Another theory regarding the decline of Harappan civilization is a mismatch of food supply. Third reason may be the earthquake. So there are different theories regarding this decline of Harappan civilization. There is also one theory regarding the decline of Harappan civilization, that is called Aryan invasion. So according to this theory, around 1700 or 1800 BC, Aryan people who had migrated from Central Asia had invaded the Harappan civilization. Harappan civilization was that time highly developed civilization. You know all the developed characteristic of this Harappan civilization. But these Harappan people did not have the weapons to fight against the Aryans, and so obviously it is said that when the battle took place between this Harappan civilization and Aryan civilization, so Harappan civilizations were defeated. So as these Harappan people were defeated, so these people had deserted their homeland. So when they had deserted their homeland, so they moved in different direction. So some groups of Harappan people had moved to the northern India, some had moved to the central India, and some group of the Harappan civilization had moved to the South India. And so when they were defeated by the Aryan peoples, So they had moved to the South India. So when they were moved to the South India, they were hunted down by the Aryans people. So as they were highly developed civilization, they were highly developed people, and as they were defeated, so that defeat had created some inferiority complex in the minds of Harappan peoples. And so when they moved to the South India and settled down, that inferiority complex was in their mind. So later on, in a course of a time, this Harappan civilization or Harappan people had settled down in South India and developed their own Dravidian culture. And as their economy grew, so they started to develop their own architecture. So if you see the Dravidian architecture, so we find this Dravidian architecture from Pallav period, then Chola period, and further these other dynasties. So when these peoples had started to develop their temples constructions, so they purposefully constructing the temple in a such a way so that their Garbha Griha were dark, and these dark were kept. It is because of that inferiority complex. Now this inferiority complex, so basically there was a huge gap between the temple construction activities and this settlement of the Harappan people in South India. But this inferiority complex had transmitted from one generation to another generation, and when they started actually constructing this Dravidian architecture, so that inferiority complex, that means which is inferiority complex which is created because of the invasion of Aryan civilization, is reflected in their temple architecture. So that way we can explain that the Dravidian architecture's Garbha Griha are dark. On the other hand, the Garbha Griha of Nagar style of architectures are somewhat allowed to enter the light, and so because of this, these are lighted. Thank you for watching my video, and if you like it, so you can subscribe it also. Thank you.